and those drains, right at the edge of those drains, where the crabgrass drops down onto the mud, that's in that drain down deep on the level of the water, sort of, or just above the water. That's where the best worms are. Okay, and then you can work your way out towards the low tide mark, where the water edge is. The best way to dig them, we used to dig with a pitchfork back years ago, with those bent forks sort of thing, 90-degree ones, with the four things hanging down. These days you can't use, you can use by hand. You gotta be careful in areas. I wouldn't do it up like the Logan or the elbow where there's broken glass and stuff in the mud, because you're gonna cut yourself up. So it needs to be fairly virgin area, and you want to work in an area probably as wide as this table, and you'll dig a trench. It might be, so it's low tide, or the tide's just at the bottom going out. You'll start about probably 1.5 meters up the bank, go away from the you don't want to have any mangrove roots. It's got to be mud, and you're up to your knees in the mud, or further. And you'll dig a section back about that wide. You go down to about that deep, so that deep, and you pull the mud back, about the size of this actually, or that way though. And you pull it back, and as you pull it back, the first thing you do is you look, and if you see a worm or sort of spaghetti going down, they're very fast at retracting, not as fast as beach worms, but they're pretty fast. So you'll need to quickly just hold that mud and grab that worm and try and pull it out. Okay? Then once you see there's no more there, in that piece of mud you got, you just crack it open a little bit and saw through it and pull the worms out. And if there's any worms in it. And you go down and step about this deep. Then you work across, like I said, a little bit this table here, and then you pull the next one into it. Does that make sense? So I'm working from 2 meters up to the water's edge, and I'm working up towards the cobble pegs or the mangrove roots. So it's like 2 meters, 2 meters. So imagine 4 meters of mud. I'm working that halfway up to the cobbler's pegs, to the cobbler's pegs, or wherever there's a little drain coming out. And that's how you get the mud.
$600 a check.
It is, and it stinks for about 3 days too. The girls don't like it. But yes, but it's they are supposed the best way. But these days I don't worry about it, because the beach ones you're going to eat 20 right in now, although you're bagging this. Which one? 30. 30 is it?
30.
So longer. Yeah, so then the third bay is yabbies. Okay, so yabbies. Does anyone here not know how to do yabbies? Yabby nuts. Does anyone not know yabbies there? Yabbies are expensive too. I think they're about 40 for like $10 for those, or 25 for $10. Yeah. 40 cents each. Where they are. I used to do yabbies when I was a kid for tackle shops. It's 50 years ago now. And I used to get $7 a thousand back in those days. Yeah, $7 a thousand. And when I was at my peak, when I started, I was about 12. When I was about 16, I was getting $70 a thousand. The price went pretty good actually, and I could do it in about 40 minutes. And back then, that's in 1978, 79. That was a lot of money for 40 minutes work. But you spew up, you work your ass off, you work really hard. It's all back. And when you get one for 3,000, it's very hard. But yeah, yabbies, you can get yabbies off the shoreline pretty well in many areas of the Gold Coast. You don't need a boat, so if you're shore-based, you'll get yabbies. I've got some very small. Because of the high tide today, I've got a spot at Runaway Bay at the end of Runaway Bay Avenue, it's called, which is the roundabout near the Runaway Bay Shopping Centre. You turn right there and head towards the waterfront and take a left and then go to Runaway Bay Avenue. And you just pass the car park, stops right there. They're doing some little development there at the moment in the park, and just walk over the foreshore there. And if it's halfway at tide or towards the bottom tide, you'll get easy 100 yabbies in about 15 minutes. And they're not bad size. Today though, when I come back from the beach, it's really high tide, it's mega tide, nothing in the crabgrass, or the grass, and they're a little tiny one. So I've got some little hooks here, which I'm going to get you guys to come up with your microscopes and watch me put one on. But imagine it's a bigger one, okay? These are size 12 hook instead of size 4. But yabbies are a very good bait for foreshore fishing, which means off the shoreline, not in the boat. And also good in the boat, of course. And they're really good around Wadrake Island and the sandbanks from the swimming pool at Southport all the way down to around Crab Island. So we have a lot of whiting in those areas. if you've got a boat, and we drift those areas on the making tide. So those banks, once you can get, depends how big your boat is, but once you can get on top of those banks, you can either anchor or drift, depends where you are, and you just drift the yabbies with no sinker. So you just, it's drifting with you on the bottom. The trouble with the yabbies is compared to the worms, you get a lot of bycatch of worms, using worms like tailwine and bream and whatever, but with the yabbies you get more. You get stingrays and you get everything else that goes with it. Okay? They just love yabbies. So that's part of the parcel. But you get big whiting as well. So with the yabby pump, one thing I can teach you about the yabby pump is when you dig yabbies, you only do 3 digs in one hole. I see people going forever. In the last 6 pumps they did, they never got a yabby. The first couple they wanted. So 3 zigs. So the first pump is halfway down the length of the yabby shaft. Okay, so go down to halfway. Pull the handle out, lift it up, pump it to the side. Try and aim to go straight down the same hole again. Don't try and miss it or take out half the next side. It's going to be the same hole. When you get down this time, go all the way down to the handle. Okay, so all push all the way down, pull it up, lift to the side, and go down real quickly again. Same deal again. That's the third one, and that's it. And you don't need to walk far. If you've got yabby holes that are everywhere, you only need to walk the width of that from there to there, so 1 foot away, and then do the next bunch of holes. Okay, you don't need to go those ones right over there. There's a lot of yabbies between you and there. So when I was digging the yabbies, we do an area about probably 1 metre by 2 metres, and get 150 yabbies out of it in the same area. It's still the same now. It's still very easy, so you don't need to walk too far. The other thing with yabbies, when you're digging yabbies, is to make sure that there's a little bit of water on the bank. You don't want to be high and dry, and you don't want white sand. You definitely don't want black sand. Black sand is like pulling out tar. It's very hard to pull it out from tar, and it doesn't hold yabbies. So I like that sort of watery, semi-muddy sand. That's the best stuff for yabbies. Okay? And don't dig yabbies around seaweed. It's got to be only a couple of feet away from seaweed, but it can't be on the seaweed. The seaweed is always on mud. It's not on sand. It's on muddy sand, but extra mud in the sand. Yeah. Any questions about that at all?
Yeah, with the beach worms,
Yes.
you're going to go out. I mean, how long and how do you keep them in the fridge
Yeah, it's a good
fresh?
call.
You know?
So, like today, I don't know how, I haven't checked if there's no time today, but they're downstairs at the moment. They've just been sitting in my little, I put them in the, bait bucket, and it goes on the belt, and they've been there all day. So I'm guessing they could have been a bit stinky, or they could be okay. but no, I do it at home, mate, yeah. So, I actually keep mine in a small broccoli box, about the size of that, right? I'll keep about 100 worms in there, or 50 worms in there. Which I've done with 2 other people. Because you're not allowed 30 worms each. No. There's always 3 fishing. But, so I'll keep them in there with about that much water in the fridge. And it's cool enough to keep them, they sort of go in a bit of suspended animation sort of thing, they don't move around much. The day I'm going to go fishing, so I'll keep them up to 2 days in there. I'll change the water probably every 2nd day. If I'm going to keep them outside and it's not too hot, say when it's September or whatever, then I'll keep them out of the fridge. I've got a fridge outside the house, so the wife's happy about it. They're a little bit stinky. I'll keep them out of the fridge and I'll keep a lid on so it keeps it a bit cool. And I don't even worry about an aerator, I just change the water every day.
No sand or anything? Just
No sand or anything, so when I'm down the beach, I'll get a 20-litre bucket of salt water, bring that home from the job, and I keep that, just change the water. Yeah. And you should get about 3 days. At 3 days, they start to get like white spots on them, and that. And when I used to work in Mitchell's dirty bait shop when I was a kid, up down at the caravan bucket, Guy's Creek there, and my boss used to put this antibiotic into the beach worms water, and it was like I don't think it was it's like a Panadol type stuff, I don't know what it was, but they come back to life for 3 or 4 days, so we get like a week out of them. Yeah, so I don't know what it is. I wish I had asked him before he passed away, but I didn't ask him what it was. But it's something that he's a drink the capsule and sprinkle the water.
I'll take the tablet myself.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So there are secrets to it. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't keep like 200 worms in a small container, like even a broccoli box size. Try and keep it at about 30 to 50 or maybe 100.
But it's better fresh than preserved.
Look, that is debatable as well. I think it is. I believe it is. Yeah, a little bit better. For me, it is. But I have been out a couple of times now where I've taken my mates out. I had no many worms, and I said, "I know I'll bait your line. First show to do it." So I grabbed one of those and put it on for him, and they he thinks he's using those worms. And I'll chuck it out, and I'll have 4 fish to my 1. I'm using live ones. And I'm thinking, hang on, that's what's going on here. So no, they do work really well. They do, yeah. But they're expensive, so that's like $16 whatever they are.
So how many baits would you get out of one?
Oh, you get, I'll show you now actually, it's a good question. So see that worm there? I'll get probably 6 out of 1. So I've cut it about that length there, which is that part there. Yeah. So you must cover the hook up. This is the next part. So you must cover the hook up with a worm, and you must pull the Yeti's tail up above the knot. If any part of the shank's exposed, you'll get a lot more brim and tail one, and you won't get as many whiting. Because the whiting won't look at it, the brim and that will still look at it. Does that make sense? So you have to pull it up the eye of the hook. So therefore you don't use sorry, I wasn't find this out, but you learn to use the medium shank hook and the long shank hook. So when I was a young kid, my friends would take me fishing on Dad, take me in Dad, and they always use long shank hooks. Okay, but they're useless for worm fishing if you're buying the worms, and they're even more useless if you can't catch many worms, because they take up too much bait. And once that shank's exposed, that little red thing there is exposed, and the bait's down here, you'll only catch tail whiting and brim, and not many whiting. You need to keep the hook full all the time. Okay, that's probably the most important thing I'm going to tell you tonight. It's really important. So what do we do there? We use a shorter shank hook. I'll pass these both around now. So that's a shorter shank hook. I'll pass these so you can see closer. There's 3 around actually. So they're all size 2, size 4, and size 6 in the long shank. So the 6 long shanks actually, if there's a 4 long shank or a 2, it'll be half that size again. I'll pass those around. But the idea is to use less worms. So if I was using a long shank, that would become probably about that long. So that's another, I'll get 5 baits max out of that same worm. I was getting 6 baits out of it. Does that make sense? So it's a costly exercise, and you don't need it, and you get less bites because it falls down the shank. So we're going to eradicate that problem. How many worms do we get here? Let's have a look. I think it's around about 5 or 6, depending on the length. These are quite big worms actually.
Rainbow Beach.
Yeah, I think they are Drew's ones.
Drury's.
So you bought them?
We buy them from a wormer.
From One-Eyed Drew.
Yeah. His brother, yeah. There's 4 big worms in there, so you got about 20 baits here as a punter. So out of 20 baits, look, counting bycatch, depends on where you're fishing, you're probably looking at about 6 whiting or maybe 10. If you're doing it good. Yeah. So if you catch 20 whiting, you do 2 punts of worms. Simple as that. Yeah. At best. Do the maths. I'll pass those around now to the rest. We'll get the live ones out soon, and we'll charge them with a hook. I hope there's no green piece.
I soak them in metho and then freeze them.
Correct. So this is
And
the
they'll
next
last for
thing.
months and months.
Exactly. So what's the secret herbs and spices to preserving worms? I'll tell you what it is right now. So you need to get yourself so methylated spirits, as Dylan said. Well done. Just a little bit of sugar. So if you're going to mix up a batch, you know the little, say a 600ml tub of, like a yogurt container, right? 600ml. Get rid of the yogurt, clean it up. I'd probably 1/3 fill it with metho, around about. I'll put in a tablespoon of brown sugar. I'll put in probably about 1 or 2 caps of food colouring in red preferably. The red makes them go a bit more redder. Put that in there, and I will add a little bit of water to it, but not much. So it's salt water, not fresh water, salt water. And then I add a fair bit of salt. So I'll put in probably in about that mix, around about 6 big heap tablespoons of salt. That's a fair bit. And then when you put them in there, they'll go. Everyone's got different ideas, but when you put them in there, they'll eat it and they'll just sort of go like that sort of thing, pretty quick. And then I let them sit in there. Some people say you should leave them in there too long, like more than a day. I let them sit in there for at least about 6 hours, 4 hours. Pretty quick over. Yeah.
Just straight metho.
Straight method, right? Yeah.
And then it doesn't lose its colour.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. You put colouring in as well?
No.
No, put colouring in.
Paper towel and dry them right up and then.
Yeah, so exactly right. That's the next thing you got to do. So when you take them out, before you put them in there, my own uncle's still facing Island off Gladstone, and they're the biggest worms ever in history up there, on the beach side there. They're a metre long and they're as thick as your finger. And it takes your mates to go to the ground as well to pull it out of the sand. And when you get them out, you look at them, they're scary. But yeah, we used to use them for parrotfish and stuff, but tusk fish. But what I'm getting at is they taught me about preserving worms. And the deal was they had, when you catch them, before you put them in the brine, we just put them in dry sand and shake them like that gets all the slime off, and then pull your finger down, not too hard because it'll just snap them. And pull your finger down and wipe all the slime off. It takes everything off, the sand takes it off. And that pretty much then it dries them out. Throw them in the mixture, let them do that for a couple of hours. Take them out, and as the gentleman said, just put them on a big towel and just pat them. And then put them into the bags and then put them in the freezer. They never freeze solid, they're always, you use them straight away the next day in the freezer for a week, doesn't matter. You use them next minute, straight into, a bit cold maybe for the fish's mouth. But they work really well. So when you're catching the worms, and whatever you don't use, you don't dice them away, you take them home and you do that. Save them, use them for next day. Pack up the freezer with worms. Okay, but remember there's a bag limit of worms. Is it 30 per person, Joe?
I think
It's 30, I think it's here. So 30 per person in possession. It's a big fish, right?
that's halves as well.
Yeah, it does, that's right.
That's
Includes
if you,
pieces, right?
if you break them
Yeah,
up,
that's right,
you're in
correct.
trouble.
So, but if you buy worms and you went and bought 60 worms, how do they prove that?
You keep the packet.
Okay, they come in a little packet. Oh, you get one packet. Oh, they come in like a bag with
Yeah, I asked that question with that, and they
Yeah.
said as long as you got your packet with your receipt, you will be right.
okay, the receipt's probably good. Yeah, so anyway, you can buy lots of worms, but you can't keep lots of worms.
Keep all your packets when you go to the beach.
Well, that's right, yeah, you don't want packets on the beach, exactly right, mate. Yeah, that's
The
exactly
date
right.
might get you.
Yeah. But, they're dark ones too. So, any other questions on the bait at all? Anyone wants to do the bait?
Is there, apart from worms
Yes.
and yabbies,
Yes.
is there?
There is another secret bait.
Yeah.
So, look, I've been caught them on Dougie just on a gang hook off the sand pump jetty years ago. And not bad size. But, to be honest, down south, you fish to the King George, some of you might fish from down south,
Yeah.
they love squid. The squid tentacles actually.
Or
They're
white
too
bait
long.
was the other one I was thinking.
White bait? Yeah, I've never used white bait for it.
In Victoria.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah, I've used the cockle shells, like I leave pippies, and squid, and prawns are okay too.
And mussels.
Mussels, sorry.
And soldier
Yeah.
crabs?
Soldier crabs, so soldier crabs are a bit of a different animal, so, soldier crabs have that, they excrete, like it looks like detergent, right, little bubbles. And when they do that, I don't catch as many fish on them, so you've got to try and keep them happy. And then you catch fish on them. So I don't know if it's a smell, because when they excrete that stuff, they stink, right? If they don't do it, they don't smell too bad. So just try the experiment so you can get soldier crabs. But if you're using soldier crabs, they've got to be the small grey colour ones. Can't be the big blue ones. They've got to be soldiers. They've got to be little ones. About the size of a little fingernail. 3 on one of those hooks is perfect. That's going around. Okay, and they work really well.
So squid's not.
No, I've caught them up here on squid because I've been down to fish in Melbourne a few times with friends and caught them down there. But I'm going to show you a rig tonight, which is the Melbourne rig, which I used to have 2 hooks and a sink on the bottom with squid tangles. If you want to give it a crack, it's probably worth a crack, worth having a go. But look, if you're having worms or yabbies, I'd probably go fish for something else, flatties or whatever. Yeah.
You mentioned the Mirage Hotel for
Worms,
worming,
yeah.
but is it the only place like it's all,
No.
all I've ever heard of?
They're everywhere. There are trillions of worms on the beach. Trillions.
Yeah.
Like today I waded around, and actually I thought, you can get those little tiny pippies sometimes on the beach that pop up everywhere. I thought they were those. There's that many worms. I thought the little baby pippies, they're everywhere. It was the high tide, obviously. And then I saw a couple come out a bit further, I thought, oh, pippies are worms. So many worms. But the tide was quite high and fast, it was very hard to get time to pull them out, you know.
Yeah.
My favourite worm spots are there and I park at Phillip Park at SeaWorld. Walk about 300 metres north.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a nice little spit comes out there, just up the hole.
Yeah.
It's always been there every year, it's always there. And they're good on there.
Nothing north in the.
Yeah, I get them down the pump and jetty, I get them everywhere. Australia's fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, Cole and a few of the worms weren't over at Australia. That's where they were. They were down on the spit there too.
What do you use for your stink bait?
Yeah, so that's a good question too. Today I was just using a snapper frame for them went out on Monday. It's a nice snapper. I just put one of those and it was a bit big in the bag. But it worked well. Yeah, well, I only was there for 10 or 20 minutes, so it's quick. But look, what's the best thing you want? A fish that doesn't excrete too much flesh. Okay, because I'll chew it, I'll get it and don't come back up again. You want them to be so hungry for the smell that they can't get anything. And they're going to jump out of the sand. Yeah. So, mullet's really good, tail is really good, tune is the best, mackerel fillets, mackerel frame, sorry. And when you're using the piece to hang on to, like sometimes you can use a pippy, right? And the pippy's good because it doesn't pull off. I like to use skin off the mackerel, is really good because it's really tough. A little tiny bit of flesh in there, but the skin is what they'll grab. And they sort of get the fangs stuck in there, but it's hard for them to let go of it. And you got to let it longer. Because the water's your worst enemy. Water when you're worming, it's always in your face. Or you have soak it. But so if you can find that flat area that's not banks like that on the surf, but quite flat, and when the water drains off, it takes a long time to drain off. It takes a fair long time to come back in again. When you get ones like that, it's just like that, which I lost today. But you can find those flat banks, which is generally halfway out tide to low tide. Try and do it on a run out tide, because you don't get those big surge waves coming out. That annoys the crap out of it. The tide's receding, so that's a bit more friendly for you to worm. But the worms are everywhere. You go down to Palm Beach, Mermaid, North Coast, Ballon, it doesn't matter, they're everywhere. There's so many worms. Yeah. Lucky the tourists don't know about it, they'd be scared. Especially some of the big ones. If you haven't got any bait, like my dad catches him on his finger and his toes, he waves his finger around and puts his finger down. So you can do lots of things with worms. Yeah. Okay, reefs. So we've got the bait now. Oh, I talked about rods and reels. Okay, rods and reels. Look, years ago, I would own when I was fishing club, I'd only use a 10'6" or 11'4" rod, which is a very long rod out of the boat. Same with the shoreline. I used an LB 6-inch reel. That was my wading outfit, right? These days I've learned I catch just as many fish on the spin reels as I do with LB, and actually not more because they're not spinning it out and taking it on line and getting tangled up. It's locked on there. It's on there, right? So wading are like a vacuum cleaner when they bite. So their bottom jaw is like that shape, and their front one's out the front, and they like suck it up. And the secret of wading is you want the tip to be soft, so when they suck it up, they'll take the tip down, not feeling too much of it. And as they're doing that, they're engulfing it. So that's why a lot of wading you catch, it's right down their throat, because they inhale it. They don't bite and chip away at it. They do on the squid though. Okay, but the worms and yabbies as well get it right down there. So you want a rod that's fairly soft tip. That's the first thing. It's funny when you're beach fishing, it's a different scenario. I've got the same rods here, so I told you the same ones I use. I just use this because my kids wreck my rods. So I don't take a Stella down there with with an expensive rod. I just use, this is it, this is my surf rod for whiting. I love it. Catch darling, catch everything. It's, and it's like a, just over $100 combo, you know, they're cheap. So Shimano, little Sienna 4000. I do run braid. I like fishing braid and surf. I go surf fishing now because I feel the bite's a lot better. It's a lot thinner in the waves, doesn't need as much sweep, and it definitely feels the bite's better, and it casts better. So I recommend braid over mono. But when I'm in the boat, I like to use mono and braid. I use both. Okay, so I'll get back to the beach run here. So I'm running about 10 or 15 pound braid, but a very, very thin braid. I run fairly good quality braid only because it's thinner, it casts further, and you get less wind knots because it's very smooth like mono. Where if you get the cheaper one that's 4-ply, it's quite ropey and it doesn't cast as far, and you get wind knots on it. It picks up on itself. So you don't want any wind knots, and there's always wind on the surf when you're fishing. So something is perfect, and I just find it works well. So that's my rod. It's 8'6", I think it is, or 9 foot. If you want to go up a little bit better quality on the surf, and you use that out of the boat too, by the way, sorry, and from the shoreline in the state of Broadwater. Let's do this sabotaging here. This is a bit better quality, so just up in the quality a little bit. This is a carbon rod. It's still quite soft to the tip, a little bit stiff, but not much. It's a 4000. This is the sort of thing I'd like to use at a boat as well. It has a bait runner feature. So does anyone not know what bait runner is? So they're really good about the boat or from the shoreline. So when you're fishing from the beach, you hold the rod. And the reason you hold the rod is because you're constantly rod tip up and you're winding in the slack line all the time and feeling the bite through the tip. You can't hold the line on your finger while you're winding. It doesn't work. It will on an alvey though, so that's where the alvey wins on the beach in that situation. But out of the boat, you don't hold the rod. They know you're holding the rod. Okay, so it's the complete opposite. You gotta trust me with this one. So you learn to watch your rod. So I'll put my rod down, I'll lean it up on something like that, I think, but I'll try. I'll lean it up on something like that, but I'll probably be close like that. About there. And I'll just sit here and watch the tip. Okay, and if I was holding that, waiting for the bite, I guarantee you I'm going to get 3 times more bite if I don't hold it. 3 times more. Okay, so don't hold your rods. And when you're on the shoreline, same deal. I use the you get rod spike things. You can put them on, but don't sit them up like that because the wind's going to get the line and pull it in. The waves going past and boats going past, they're going to wash the line around. It needs to be fairly flat. Okay, that's as steep as you ever want, if not even more flat. If I could, I'd probably do it like this. So it's even more flat, like in the horizontal. Does that make sense? Okay, and if I'm on the shore, I'll sit on a bucket or whatever, and I'll just sit there and I'll just watch the tip. And you'll see the tip go down. And the beauty of the bait runner is, when the fish hit it, so I'll take that back a bit, when the fish bite on it and they run, they can just run up. I've got the drag set, but in the bait runner system, it disengages the spool. So they can actually bite on it, suck it down. They're not even feeling anything on the rod. And when they run off, it'll just start going. You just pick it up, they don't know you got to hold it, it's still running free. Then you just turn the handle and your drag sets the hook. Okay? So bait runners are really good for whiting fishing and for other things too, but really good for whiting. Disadvantage of bait runners is they don't work well with braid, so you got to use it with mono. Okay? They do work braid, but they don't work as good. So mono is to go for that type of outfit. That's 10 pound mono. And the next outfit I use would be a very light flatty rod or a whiting rod. So if you've got a flatty rod or whiting rod that's quite soft, like this, 2 to 4 kilo, 2 to 5 kilo, 2,500 size reel, it's perfect for whiting. It's the best thing. I've got all this 10'6" and 11'4" rods. I never use them anymore because I catch as many fish on these things. So I just use my blade rods. and I'm using the line that's so thin, I'll pass this around. It's quite expensive, it's like $50 to you guys, but this is £14, actually this is £16 on my flavor rods, which I use on the whiting, right? But when you see how thin it is, you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Is that the Japanese one that you had? That's six.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
a 6 pounder.
That's correct, mate. You got it. It's 0.6.
Which is what I've just put on my flatty reel.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. Have you tried it yet?
Not yet.
No, it's bloody good. I can't see it. It's hanging down there somewhere. Towards the acknowledge. Sorry. Okay, there it is. Thank you. So, just use your flavour rods for catch up whiting. It works fine. Okay. 7 foot long, reasonably soft tip, and a little reel. And if you're on the shoreline, perfect, same scenario. And you're watching the rod tip. But if you've got Elvies and you like using Elvies, I still do, but I just don't use them much like I used to use. You can still use Elvies too, of course. They work fine. The beauty of the Elvie is, particularly beach fishing and off the shorelines, that they can handle a bit of abuse. Sand, water, irrelative, doesn't do anything. These fellows, $1,000 combo, could be trouble if you don't look after it. Okay.
What about bait casters?
Yeah,
Light ones?
you can use light bait casters as well, and I have done that too, by the way. And if you can set the spool to the side to be like not quite running out of the current, fantastic. I'll just take off and turn the handle. You drag through a preset, bit like a bait run system. Just a little bit tighter wind to get back at it.
Yeah.
You know, but it works fine, mate. Yeah. The only thing is when you're fishing, say, unweighted yabbies or areas where it's quite shallow and small sinker, it doesn't work very good. It's hard to cast. The new BFS ones will work right, but not the stand ones. There's no weight to cast it. So the spin reel just flies out. Yeah. And same with the Elvies too. Elvies don't cast unweighted yabbies as good as a spin reel does. Any questions on that at all? Okay, so you got all that all good. So we're watching the rod tip. Okay. Rigs. So we've now done the bait, the rods are here. So we're going to do the rigs. So I like experimenting with rigs. You might see last year I did some 2 rigs, checking out, because we never were allowed to use 2 hooks back in the day in the comps. But now that I can do it. So, and I always envisage catching 2 40cm whiting at the same time. To me it's like, I don't do this. I haven't done it yet though. I've got like a 36 and a 38 or something. But there's a lot of 2 hook rigs that we sell. We sell a lot of it I've been using. And I think you may have one in your bags there, but to give it a crack. But that's, well, these are 2 rig packs. That's a 2 hook rig. Well, these might be single ones, sorry. Okay, I'll come back to that one. I don't know if you guys have got that one or not. If you haven't,
I think that's in the bag.
it's in the bag, is it? Okay, if you got that one, that's a 2 hook rig. So that's a circle hook. Now this is different too. In our day, years ago, if someone said getting a circle for whiting, they'd say an idiot, right? But I tried these things and they work really, really good. So the beauty is they don't use much worm. So you only use half the worm you will on the medium shank hook. So they're very short in shank. And I don't know if that first stuff gets them going or what it is, but they love it. So give it a crack. Okay. I rigged mine a little differently. I cut the bottom part off, and I don't like doing the Victorian style with the single at the bottom. I do on the surf. I don't on the surf and it works alright, but on the S3 from the shore or from the boat, I don't like to use. I just run the 2 hooks, one at the bottom, one middle. I've got a running sinker above the swivel. This is the way I do it.
So if you're using a sinker on the bottom, it's almost like a pastonos.
It's like a baby pattern off the rig. Exactly. So they're set up to do that. And there's some other ones here I'll run through in a moment that are similar. Yeah, so you've got those in your bag, so give them a crack.
So, sorry, I didn't understand. Is that, are you saying use that like a lure, or?
No,
Put
you
some
put the
worm
bait on the worm on there, or a little yabby,
Yeah.
or a half yabby. But I didn't tell you before, if you've got a yabby and eat the head, but they suck the juice out of the head, you will not get another bite on that head. But if you pull the tail off, if you pull the head off and use the tail half and throw it up the line and put another yabby on it, it works okay.
Yeah.
You've got to get rid of that head part with no guts. I don't know why that is, but you throw it back out again, you think it's like it's still the whole yabby there, right? They don't know it. Cut the head off. Sorry.
But coming back to that one,
Yeah.
that's not a law then, that's,
No.
so
No.
what's all the,
So you can do 6 or 20 line in Queensland.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah. So you
so that
do.
little, looks like a fly, the one
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So it looks like a fly in the water. It's a lot more streamlined.
Yeah,
And it's more from, it's derived from down in Victoria, I think, or South
no,
Australia.
I've never seen one.
Yeah, that's right. And tackle workers were national.
Yeah.
The guys down there, that's all they use for whiting, for their whiting fishing. We've now inherited off our way, and it works. So
So you put a yabby on that,
yeah, pretty yabby on
or worm,
there. Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's on the long shank, the yabby on the long shank,
yeah,
and the worm on
and
the.
it's just an attractor, is it? It's just.
It's just an attractor, that's correct,
That's okay.
and a different style of the tools. So give it a go.
When you're saying about these yabbies before putting it on, do you take the head off?
No. So when you get a bite, or when you get like a whiting bite, you've missed it, and you wind it in, the yabby still looks like it's all on there, but the head's like translucent, they suck the juice out of it, and you throw it back out, it looks like a whole yabby. You won't get a bite. You get a broom bite, but you don't get a white bite. So you need to, I just snap in half, I pull the head off, I spread the tail up the line a bit further, put another yabby on.
And what about the claws?
Yeah, so claws, okay, good question, mate. So claws on a yabby. You just learn when you grab a yabby out of the bucket, you grab it on the back of the nip or it joins onto the head, and it won't bite you. Okay? No, they always seem to bite you in the part of your hand if it hurts. Or there. But, or in the corner of the nails. But, and you just flick it off. They flick off really easy without breaking the head or anything. So flick the nipper off. To me, it's like if you got the big claw, say on the male yabby, and the whiting sit there, he wants to look at it and this big thing, this at him, I'd probably maybe swim away if I felt like there's something happening. But if there's nothing there to defend myself, I'm a whiting that's going to nail that sucker.
So take the nipper off.
Yeah, take the nipper off, yes. Always. Whiting bead and tubes, okay? Above the hook. Do we use this or do we not use this? Look, when you're fishing in a lot of these areas, toadfish are a pain in the backside. And they're just a common thing that hang around the water. So how do you get rid of that? You can't. What do you do to this? When you think it's a whiting bite, but you wind it in, your worm's gone, and you don't check your line above the hook, half the time you pull the worm up the hook, the toadfish bite on that part of the line, right? And it's not until you get that 42 centimetre whiting on, and you go to lift him in the boat or lift him up the shoreline, he snaps off and swims away, that you realise the toadfish has been chewing on the line and has already brought that 6 or 8 pound leader back to about a 2 pound leader. And it's just snapped off trying to get the fish in. So you need to always check your line. But if you use a piece of that tube, that will eliminate that problem. And the worm still goes over it. So if I was you, I'd be probably putting a little bit on, probably only about 1.5 centimetres above your hook if you've got a toad situation. But if you get no toads in the area, don't use it, because I reckon you get more fish without it. Does that make sense?
I always thought it was to attract the fish,
Yeah, correct. No, it is
because it looks a bit like a red
correct.
worm.
That's what we were told. But it's
By our dads.
True.
They
But
never
when I
caught
talked
fish.
when the old guys at the club said to me, it doesn't do anything except stop the toadfish from biting along or losing those big fish. But if you got it in there, it's up to you guys.
Because you can't sell it.
They'll be selling outside it. Because we still spread the root. Okay, next thing. I learned back in the day about beads above the hook, so a little tiny glow bead. That protects your line a little bit too, by the way. Now we use blue, green and pink beads. These are only better than the other. Blue is supposed to be the best colour for attracting fish in the water in luminous state. So we're going to get some blue beads. a few years ago, but we can't get them anymore again. But they've got blueberries in the thing there. Do they help? They do help, I believe they do help, particularly nighttime fishing. Just charge up with your light or your head torch or whatever. Just 5 seconds or so you need, throw it out, it'll last to the cast. You have to do the same again next cast. Hooks, now in your bag you've got a variant of different range of types of hooks, but size 4 is the best size hook to use for weight. Size 6 are a little bit small and they bend too easy when you get them constantly good sized fish. And the yabby, if you're using the yabbies in particular, they're too short, they're too small, petite. They're good for the little yabbies I'm about to show you at the moment, look at it's big. But they're no good for a normal size yabby. So 4s is the best hook. 2s is okay if you're beach fishing. Only because you've got a 50-50 chance of catching a dart or a decent sea bream or something. So it's not just like whiting the time, right? So I use a 2 in the surf, I use a 4 when I'm fishing from the shoreline in the estuary, or I'm using out of boat. So that's 4. In the medium shank, not the long shank. Sinkers, look, one good thing about whiting fish, when you're bream fishing, they're a little bit fussy on sinker and weight. So when I'm bream fishing, I'll try and use as light as I can, and if the current's going that way, I'll cast it up the length, well I normally cast up into the current, and let it come down with the current sort of thing. Once it gets out there, I'll want it again, do the same again. With whiting, they don't really care. You can chuck a 5-ball sinker or a 4-ball sinker. The only time they care is when you're fishing around the back of wave break. Everywhere else they don't care. That's a 3-ball. A 4-ball's about the size of your thumbnail really. Oh, that's it there, I think. That's 4-ball. So I use a 4 or a 5 on a fishing around river for whiting. They don't care about it. It just plonks out and it stays there. And that's what you want. So don't worry about if the sinker's too big. Yeah, so good. I'll set around, see how big a 4-ball is. So 5-ball's one size bigger, that's the biggest I've got. And if you've got a bit too much current and your biggest sinker's still getting lifted up, you just need to cast it up that way a bit further into the current. That's the way to eliminate it. And then, as a last case scenario, you put 2 little sinkers together. Does it clang, scare the fish? Lead doesn't make any noise, so it's all good.
So what's the difference then? You were talking about using an unweighted yappy.
Yeah, so when we fish at the back of wave break on or fishing up on the shoreline on a rising tide and it's quite shallow and you know the whiting are moving through it, we try not to use any sinker, and we're particularly using yabbies for bait because there's a lot of yabby holes in there, and that's what they're feeding on. Now, has anyone done the hop off the boat fishing back of wave break or in those sort of areas? You've done it before? So the secret is it's not about the depth, it's about the temperature, if you learn that one. So what it means is, I'll pull my anchor out and then I'll walk back out in the water to about my knee depth, so I feel the water go from warm to a little bit cool. And then I'll step back a tiny bit and I'll cast my line in that area. Now when that cooler water reaches me, I'll back pedal another 10 yards and cast into that area again. And that's how you catch all those big whiting on the shoreline. And if you are in a boat at anchor, you don't know that's happening, and you won't get. Sometimes that's why Clint's always waiting, because he does the same scenario. So you don't get as many fish in the boat at anchor in shallow water as you will actually jumping out of the boat and stand there fishing from in the water. The only hard part is you get a big whiting, you know, hard to lift out of the water, and you're in the water and it can fall off, or if you get toadfish that they stand the line. So how do you eliminate that? We can have a little floating net or something hanging off your hip or whatever. But I just pull them out, lift them, take them out and chuck my weight in there. Yeah. When you do that wading fishing, and I think a lot of you want to give it a crack, you need a wading bag, a bait hip bucket thing, and a rag that's hanging off your pin to your shirt or something so you can wipe your hands and with the worms or yabbies, doesn't matter, you need to keep your hands fairly semi-dry when you put them on, otherwise it's just too hard to put them on. Okay? So some sort of rag, And in my pocket, I keep a little tiny tackle box, a pocket size, with a few sinkers and a few hooks and a rig. Now you get a little rig holder in your bag there too. Learn to tie your rigs before you go one fishing. Not at least 6. Those little holes hold at least 3 to 6 rigs. So you have your little swivel, which you got in there, and anywhere between 8 and 12 pound leader, it all works. I make it about 50 centimetres long, that's the main I like. And then my hook's on the bottom, and then I'll hang the swivel out, I'll wrap it around a little rig holder, and I'll hook the hook on there somewhere. And then I'll do the next one next to that, same deal, next one. The swivels go, I started top working my way down, I think. So the top one's the bottom rig, and the one furthest down is the first rig to take off the little ladder. So you know where you're at. You're trying to take the bottom one off, it gets a bit padded. Okay. Does that make sense? And you just, if you get busted off by a stingray or whatever, you can make sure you have a pair of scissors too, right? Use those little pin on clip things. It's all on you. And you'll be able to get a dozen whiting in that wave bag when you get back to the boat and drop it off. And no one steps in your spot. Same on the beach, same deal. Yeah. One thing I do when I'm fishing out of the boat with the worms, now back to the worms, is I have a hand towel sitting on a flat area, and I'll take out about 6 worms, and I'll put the worms on top of the hand towel. They don't go too far, they just wriggle around and then they're wiping all the slime off. And that's so much easier when the bite period happens and you don't want to waste time trying to put a slippery worm on the hook and they're trying to bite you wherever they are. When they lose their slime, they lose their energy, and they're not as aggressive biting you. When they're straight out of the water, you try to put on the hook, especially bloodworms, cribola worms, they'll bite the crap out of those little black pinches on them. My mother cuts their heads off. I said, Mum's the best part of the bait. So when you put the worm on the hook, which I'll show you shortly, it's like if you're watching this, can you grab my bait from downstairs? I was talking to the camera. It's next to the Yetis in the downstairs there. Thank you. So I'll put the worm on for you, but I just want to draw it for you. So it's an art to putting bait on a hook too.
What's the rig holding you said?
Oh, it's a little ladder thing in there, like a little plastic thing. I might have got it in there. Okay, hold on, don't worry. We'll have one. Put it in the front. There were in there. Okay, that's all right. I might have got it. I'll get it for you. It's a little thing that looks like this, and it's got these little things on the side here, and it's got like ladders across here. And it's joined up, and it's got little holes on the side here too when you face it looking side on. So what you do is you hang the swivel down here like this, and then you wrap it around and around and around and around, and then pull it down tight till the hook goes in one of those holes. Does that make sense? And then the next one, you put the swivel on that one there. Okay, it's on that next little arm sticking out. Same deal again, but I might move across a little bit, wrap it around, and find wherever the hook goes. It doesn't matter where the hook goes because you'll start working your way back up the ladder to undo them and take them off. And you can do the same on that side. So I've only put 2 or 3 on that side and 2 or 3 on that side. And they're just such a great little thing to fit in your pocket. Yeah, and it's all there, pretty done. But when you put the worm on the hook, so if this is the hook here, say, yeah. And we've got this little, they go on, this way. You might have 2 little barbs at the top, wherever it may be on the hook. So preferably use a hook that has a barb on it, that holds the bait up a little bit better. But I've cut my worm about, imagine that's the hook straightened out here, that's the point there. So I want my worm to be about that long. Does that make sense? Okay? Because that's got to bend around the hook. So I put the worm on, push him on, and I don't go in and out, I just keep feeding it up the worm. You see some guys go in and out, in and out. That one worm becomes 4 baits instead of 6. So again, money, time, worms are hard to get. So So I throw up the worm, I pull up to here, get to the stage here, and this is where my knot is here above the line. Okay, my line there, a little bit sticking out there. When I get to here, I've pushed it over here, I've got a little bit crunched up here, and the end of the worm's just hanging up here now. I'll then pull that up and pop it over that knot, so now it's here. But what I didn't tell you was when I first put the worm on, at this stage here, it's part of the hook, when I go through the worm, so this is the worm here, that's the piece I've cut off, I'll start by putting it through, I'll go from this end here, that end there, sorry. Yeah, I'll start about here, not right at the top. And the reason being is that little bit of worm is going to now sit out here like this. And it's on here, and comes down here, and comes down here. And then the end part, I'll poke the hook out about here. And that little tail piece is sitting out there like that. So the whole hook's concealed in there. And this little part of the top here, which I'll show you when I pass it around, it just weighs around the current. So the dead ones look like they're alive in the current. If you pull the worm up dead flat on here, like that, there's no movement up there, it's just a bait sitting there. And again, I reckon 2 times more fish by just doing that little trick. On the surf, it's fantastic because it's really moving around. It's quite rough down there, right? With the water. Works really well. So that's sitting out there like that. Okay. With the yabby, a little bit different. So the yabby, sorry. We'll put this on and we can all come up and watch it in turn. It's not working very good. So I'm going to do a little bit differently. So the hook's this way now. So with the yabby, what I'll do, I'll start at the tail. So the yabby's tail is a bit like that sort of thing. And then it has like this sort of things on it. And then his head here, and his legs. And this is quite hard in here, and his eyes are there somewhere. Okay, so I'll start at this point right here. So his little tail can still move around a little bit. Okay, and then I go up the center internal till I get to here. At this point, it's about here somewhere. Oh, maybe a bit further up. Here somewhere, so, and that's he's on here sort of thing. And now I'm at this point here. So this all changes. So what I do now is I'll pull that up a little bit further, and this point here goes through the side of his head, so I turn him sideways. If you go through the bottom part where his legs are, it's very hard. And when you try and push the hook through, even if you've got a sharp hook or a small hook, it always pops those carrot space, the legs off. And then you get the half-headed yabby, which no one would like to eat. So you need to have that head intact. So what do? If you go from the other end, you go from the top end, it starts the soft end, but when it comes out the other end, it pops it off again. So you've got to go through the side of his head. Does that make sense? So now, the head's now facing, hard to do it this way. I guess his head's like that way. And that's sticking out the side, and he's sort of bent around here, like this sort of thing. And then, knots on here, the line's there, I'll pull his tail up over that knot, and that's his tail there. His head's actually a bit bigger than that, it's probably about here somewhere. Does that make sense? So you have to get through the side of the head, you can't go top or bottom. And you must pull the tail up over there to do that. So if you've got little yabbies like I've got now, for to show you, because that's what I can get, sorry about that, I don't have time. to go this afternoon in low tide, but when you, in that situation, I put 2 little yabbies on the hook. Now those whiting on those sand flats love little yabbies. They like them better than big yabbies. So stick away from big yabbies when you're fishing those shorelines or sand mix. The medium or the little ones are better. Don't know why. I thought pink ones would be the go, you know, but not necessarily. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. I don't think they've heard me at all. Yeah, that's them. Actually, do you mind if I go grab it? Is that all right? I actually. Sucker, are you there? You didn't mind, mate? It's just, you know when you walk through to the toilet? Yeah, where the fridge is on that side. There's some Yeti on a shelf right under here, actually. And you'll see a white bucket there. Smelly, a little bit of one. So once you got the bait right and you got all down pat and it's pulled up the line nicely presented, it's then doing it. So that's the last part of the puzzle. And that's talk about using poppers. But yeah, I just wanted you guys to know all the tricks, because all the tricks make a difference. Mate, absolute gentleman. Let's think it.
Got it?
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this, there's one of those in your bags too. So is it for people who maybe don't want scarce fire knots, whatever, you can buy like, these are like very Victorian style. And they're a long shank hook, which I don't like too much, and it's short, which I don't like too much, but it will catch a fish. And the snell bombers I don't like as well. But that's all we can get at this time. So it's a start. But do you all know about these things? They're called quick clip, they're in your bags. So a quick clip are really good for, we use these for flathead fish or jig heads and whatever, or hard body lures. But you can actually put this onto, put your sinker on, you tie the quick clip on, and on the other end that's open, it's got like a little line that the loop goes around, and you just get the loop on this little thing here, and just go, and it's on. No knots, there's no nothing. So
How do they go with your line on the quick clips?
as in,
Because those quick clips, they don't pinch close.
no, I see what you're saying. So we're holding on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't seem to fall off. But actually, I asked that same question to, I wanted to show you guys, to the Mex guys, because down in South Australia and Victoria, they're a lot, like in the place they fish is quite rippy, quite fast current. And I thought to pull them off, like just in the wave around or undo them. No undoing at all. So he doesn't. So I'm betting that it shouldn't do it. But will it do it? I don't know. Let's see. So these are actually a pre-made rig. I'll pass the ring over the back of it. With the clips on the end of the, so you've got a swivel and you've got the clip on the swivel. So it's not lined, but it's a similar scenario. But this one here goes on here like so. So, and that's the time. Like, I don't think it'll come off. I think you'll actually do that sort of thing. Will the current do that? Yes.
That's the point.
Maybe. I know. He assures me it doesn't.
Yeah, okay.
So, Alright, who's eating King George whiting versus our whiting? Who would say our whiting better to eat?
I haven't had the yellowfin, I've only had King George.
The king doesn't get that.
No, I reckon it does.
But I love
I go the other way. I go the other way. You reckon ours will be the other way? Yeah.
King George, I think they're a lot cleaner in that.
Perhaps they are.
King George is one of the nicest fish I've ever eaten.
Yeah, oh, they're nice, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I caught some recently down at, out near the old gun turrets, I can't remember. Sorrento?
Sorrento, yeah,
Yeah,
Sorrento. Got the huts out there.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big one. And it was only there last year. And then we ate and cooked like that night, the way I got my body here. But I don't know. But anyhow, I'll pass this around as well. But I'm going to put a worm on here to show how it goes on. That's what I'm getting at with the worms on. So, I don't know if you can see that, but I got those in like 15 minutes this morning. And I have a bowl actually. I'll just pass it around my stink. Yeah, I'll just leave it in. But I don't have any towel here to dry them up, but anyhow, that's alright. So, these are the worms I got on the beach at the moment. They're all different sizes, but we call them short worms. They're short and reasonably thick, it's not too bad. So, that sort of size. That one there. So, look, I'll probably get about, again, 1, 2, 3. Once it gets that thing, you're only going to get about 1 or 2 baits there because it's washed up the line, right? So, it's probably about a 3 or 4 worm bait, that one. Yeah. So, what do I do? Look, if you want to, you can cut them with a pair of scissors if you're worried about doing it, but I just, with my hand, just like put a bit of pressure on him, and they pop.
That's what your thumbnails for.
Normally. This one's a tough one. So we use scissors. But you've got to get the right length, right? Really important. So when I put it on, actually, do you want to come up in turns and see how to do it?
Just,
Yeah.
do you cut it from the what? Do you always cut it from the
No,
head
this is a
side?
good, really good question.
Head to tail.
So if you go from tail up that way and cut it, they snap in pieces.
Yeah.
If you go from head down, they don't break up.
Yeah.
Okay, and wriggle worms are the worst for that. So if you, it's not what we talk about, but if you pump wriggles on the foreshore of canals, they're like a little red tube worm, they break really badly if you put the hook in from upside down. And they'll just break into like 10 pieces in your hand.
So you're going from the head end.
Always from the head end down. So even when you've taken the head off, which is that part there, and I've got just the worm there, you have to go from the head end down still because it'll still break up. But
Yeah,
it knows it,
frozen.
but it knows it. Sorry.
Even the frozen you got to do it like it.
No, frozen. Well, actually, you probably
No,
should.
no,
but they don't
frozen.
know.
Frozen.
No, they don't think they're dumb dusters. The bait. But anyhow, so I'll just do the front row. You guys here, then I'll get the next guys to come up. But so if you can all see that there, right? So about where my hand is going to have no hook in it. It's going to happen about where my thumb is touching here. So this is a long shank hook, but I'll put it about here. And just drawing out a little bit. So I'll say that.
So it's just like a plastic and you're just feeding it on.
Yeah, but you leave the head out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah. We'll try and bite too. Sorry for the animal lovers out there.
We're catching fish.
We're catching fish and we're surviving. What about the animal lovers? Survival skills, I call it. So you can see I'm not going in and out and out. I'm just going up the shank. And just keep feeding up until, and this is a long shank hook, so it's a bit different too, but I don't want to pop out this end. Sorry. It pops out, sorry. But when I get this point here, I'm going to pull that up because it's starting to squash up on the shank. At this point here, I push up at the same time I pull up, does that make sense? So I hold my hand like that and I pull from the centre here. The reason I don't like snelled hooks is because they've got this chunky knot on there and it rips the crap out of the worm. And I don't know if it will even work on you. No, it won't. Sorry, buddy. Become a statistic. Okay, but you can see how much the worms hang off the side there. Quite a fair bit. That's actually a bit because it popped out at the top here. I need to tie a hook on, sorry guys. Put him back in there for tomorrow. Actually, someone's settled in these worms tonight. I'm going to why. Who's going fishing tonight? Yeah? I'll turn them into red worms then. I pass those hooks around anyway.
Over there.
I think you said it. Don't
And just a question, Dave, on the,
Yes.
with the worms, like you say bloodworms as well,
Yes.
what, the gulp
Golf.
plastics,
Yeah, well, this happens to be.
are they,
They do work now.
They're in front of you now.
This is what they think is it. They're the best. Okay.
yeah,
Now we got guys that come in here. Now I haven't tried them myself in the Broadwater or in the river or on the beach, but in Moreton Bay they kick butt.
Yeah, trumpet whiting.
Yeah, that's right. Trumpet whiting And we get diver whiting in the brawler too, but not as many as Moreton Bay. But they'll use a paternoster with 2 of those on and catch them 2 at a time all day long.
Truckload.
They get a lot, yeah.
I was
You
just
done it before?
curious,
Yeah,
curious
truckload.
about that though.
Yeah, no, they're very good.
And
So, if
and
you
without
go,
S factor.
sorry,
With no S factor.
with no S factor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's actually that style which is cheaper, the power boat one, like there, to you guys about $9 a packet or something. There's about $11 a packet or $12 a packet. But I'll pass these around and you can have a look. The one that packet's biodegradable, and this one here is rubber. Okay.
So you put them on the same way as,
Yeah, exactly the same.
so leave a little bit out of the
Yeah,
top?
that still moves around the current, whatever. Yeah.
You run a bit of scent on them?
You don't on the blue packet. The gulps are already they're actually made of food starch. They're not actually rubber. They look like rubber. But they have their own scent already inside, and the gulp formula is secret herbs and spices stuff. I don't know what it is. The other one also has a scent. I've actually been at the factory in China with the other one. They again use a secret formula, but my suggestion is to put S factor on, maybe. But who said that you don't use S factor? No. They just work. They look really good in the water. They look really good. Really good. So and we have quite a few customers that only use those, and they actually buy the longer one.
Not so much for the summer whiting, those.
Yeah, more the diver whiting. Yeah, the diver whiting. They're just aggressive feeders, right?
Yeah.
But there's another longer one. They actually cut them into pieces, like this one, and use it. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna tie some mine up. Sorry, I was going to take about a minute here. There it is, leader. So 8 to 12 pound leader, 50 centimetres long, swivels at one end.
Is that fluorocarbon or?
Fluorocarbon, yeah. What is fluorocarbon? It's just tough. It's obviously less visible to the fish, and I just find it's really good. Yeah. Using like 10 pound fluorocarbon is like using 15 pound mono in strength, whatever. So this actually is it short. Okay, take 2. Okay, the worm. Again, I just sort of know roughly how long I'm going to have it. Use my fingers that time. Okay, so I'm going to start down a little bit from the top. Thread down. You stab yourself so much.
True
The end of the night, it's just like bite marks from the, especially when you use blood burns, bite marks and prick marks from the hooks. So up to here, it's like all crunched up, right? I push up and I pull this way, okay? Holding the eye of the hook to the right side. It's so much easier without a sound. So that's just hanging off the side there, that'll move around the current and make it look a bit lifelike, so it's a little bit stinky maybe. You guys down the back want to have a look at that closer?
All good.
Got it?
Got it?
Yeah.
Sure? Al, you right, mate? Keep your weight there, buddy. Okay. So, I will pass these worms around though. You can see how easy they are to hold it. They don't easy to catch if you don't catch them like this, right? I won't pass around, it's just so you can see that.
So if you haven't got fish frames,
Yep.
what do you use?
Okay, I haven't put them on chicken. When I just use chicken, sometimes we'll be down having a snack on the beach in Australia, whatever. Anything, sausage, meat, doesn't matter. Just stick your head up.
Stinky and rotten.
Look for a dead bird, whatever.
So mule,
And actually, if you find a whale on the beach, which we have, we don't have dead whales in it. So if you find a dead whale on the beach or a dead fish, I'd be definitely looking at that area in front of it.
2.5.
Because there'll be worms everywhere. They come. Yeah. Like there's tales of, I think my grandfather used to do it years ago, I can't recall because I was too young. But of them putting like the old potato bags, putting fish frames in there. that going down in the afternoon, digging a hole halfway outside, quite a deep hole, burying it, and then because that had to be that like the woven bags, you know, the old potato bags, plastic, Hessian bags, correct? Yeah, and then going back the next day and digging it back up again, and they've all got their fangs and they're stuck in there,
Oh, right.
and they just pull them out of the bag. I don't know if that's true. Has anyone ever heard that story?
No.
You haven't heard it? Yeah.
Used to,
Used to?
do that there.
Oh, you done?
I used to do it down the Redland Bar.
Oh,
Down
true.
at Wynnum.
Oh, true. For the rock Regals there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I might give it a crack.
They might have you for burying a body or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. I always feel bad when I'm down worming and you've got Love and old mate there having a nice swim next to you, you're worming, and then you've got to go and you've got the frames and then
One piece long.
sharks that jump in the water. It's not very burly them up. It's such a you put it in the rubbish bin and smell them right out. Okay, so we put the worms on. Now we do yabbies. Now these are little yabbies. Because that's all I can get at the time.
Trina's just looking at the,
But they're really good bait. So
Yeah, there you go.
there's actually a yabby on my hand. Can you guys see that?
Nope.
Yep.
Like, it's here. It's not that small. That's it there. It's only a little one. But that's all I can get. But two of these are good. But we're going to show you how to put this on the hook properly. I'm going to use a bit smaller hook. So I'm going to use maybe. I think it'll still work on size 4. It's size 6. Size 4. Okay. That's alright. We'll use size 6. Size 4. So, same deal again. If you got any questions on that worm going around, just ask us, guys. And ladies. How many people here fish at night time, like want to go fishing night time for a worm? Do you do? So the hardest part about fishing at night time is lining up, watching that rod tip in and holding it and seeing it. So what do? You can put little light sticks on your rods and watch the light sticks dance around.
Good LED lights.
Good LED lights is really important, that's right. So one thing I know about whiting is they're not really scared about light. Now bream are a bit scared about light sometimes. They're fishing shallow waters for a bream and on snags, they don't like it, but whiting don't care. They don't care about single size, they don't care about light. So as bright as you can get your boat, the better. And just watch your watch out the boats that are running over for a start.
Seem to get the bigger ones in the night time.
You do, you get big ones, that's correct, mate. More consistency, right? So, this little yabby here is an impale. Sorry guys watching you here. I'll hide it behind the basket. But so you're holding him with that way towards me, so the flap open at the back, like I said on the picture there, right? Now I know you can't see it at the front there, but for those that can see it here, you come up the back and have a go in a minute, sorry. So under the flap, I go straight in there, pop it around. When I get to that point there, which is right before his head, I then turn him sideways and go through the head. Okay. Then pull the tail up. This hook's a bit big this time, a little wider. Yeah. Sorry. One or the other. But it will work sort of. It's not going to quite work sort of. But that'll stay on there. Okay. So that's how it is. Do one more again. Does anyone in the back want to come up and have a look? All good?
If they're floating around, would they'd catch flathead?
Yeah, we get flatties, his brims, bycatch, everything. Yeah. Stingrays, unfortunately. Yeah. But the big whiting, they love it. They really do like it. So, once we've done the bait, they're going to tell you what to look for to cast at, how to do that, and then how to set the hook, and then the best part of all is where to go.
Fill it.
I had Phil's good in too. Bring a whiting, something whiting fishing. I was supposed to go by mate Clint. Now Clint, does anyone know Clint Gradle? He's a legend whiting fisherman. He's my apprentice. I call him my apprentice, so he beats me. I used to fish club with Clint when he was a little kid years ago at Oxford Club. And he's a gun whiting fisherman.
Still going, Oxenford Club, isn't it?
I don't know, I think it is up in the, it's
No.
not going?
Stop now.
Yeah, I think Billy Morris is doing it.
So morning or afternoon, I know you said.
Yeah, so tides, we'll talk about that too, mate. Yeah, so look, if I'm fishing, say, the shoreline, so if I'm fishing the shoreline, I'll be fishing at the rising tide, no matter what time of day it is. But if you can get that low tide just before daylight in the morning, and fish the first sort of 3 hours or 2 hours as it comes up over the floods over the bank. And look, if it's a steep, say you're fishing down, like good spots down between Charis and Beaver Creek on the front there, Parr Street, Taylor Street, all those streets that come out into the waterfront down Labrador, right? And you want to have low tide, preferably around 4 or 5 in the morning, and you get down at 5 or whatever, and fish so tide's already coming in a little bit, and once it goes from that low tide and on the edge, it drops off quite quick. Once it starts to come up onto the sand flat, and that fills up, that's when the whiting will then move in onto the shallows and start feeding, and that's when you use this no weighted yabby scenario. Another good spot for it is the Spit's not too bad. Back at the Seawall car park, there's not a good whiting there. It drops off pretty quick there though.
Is that inside where the ramp is?
Yep. You're talking about for...
Is that the SeaWorld? When you say the Spit? Like
Spit, so look, I haven't caught much in Barnes Bay. There should be there,
is
but
that
it's not
little
enough current
section
flow.
inside?
Yeah, but there's not enough current flow there, mate, for the whole whiting properly. They like a bit of current.
Too much influence.
And too much of that too. Yeah.
Too much what?
Sewage. Raw.
So late afternoon's okay?
Late afternoon's good too, mate. Yeah, so late afternoon you can't do the what on tap.
Oh,
You could do it during the day.
The boat would be in the creek, or the river or somewhere.
Oh yeah. So you're talking about in the boat, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, in the boat. Well, I just go straight up Rang River and fish at night up there. It's the best spot for this.
Nerang.
One of the best spots.
Nerang River?
Yeah.
Up where? Up sort of
Anywhere from Bud's Beach up. Oh, the boys' school up. Yeah.
TSS?
Yeah, TSS up. You got to look for ripples. So ripples are really important. So ripples, I'll draw it for you. Yeah. So is everyone got the everything okay? Probably put it on paddle so the boys and go in there. Okay, happy? Okay, so we've now got our baits all set. We know how to put our baits on our hook. We've done everything. Okay, we've got rods and reels, we're ready to roll. Okay, let's just say this is a part of the river. I'll do the boat first. So, actually, change that a little bit. Let's just say the river goes like this. Some of you might know what this is.
I think that's the chambers.
That's Chevron Island.
There's no bridges on there. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, there's a bridge here somewhere.
I used to live on Bud's Beach, that's why
That's true. So there you go. Bud's Beach is a great spot to fish from the shoreline.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Bud's Beach here. Does anyone not know where Bud's Beach is? It's at the
Surface
northern end of Surface Paradise.
Good scoot out the front of there too.
Do you? I haven't done
Nice
that
little
yet.
cafe bumbles.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, nice. Yeah, good coffee. So now there's a big sandbar, pretty well in this sort of shape here. And there's a boat ramp right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this sandbar is that exact scenario I'm telling you about. So if you get a really low tide early in the morning, and it's at first the running tide, you'll be standing out here. So there's actually a couple of beacons, one there, and a red one here, I think. But yeah, a real low tide just gets exposed, but it's always got a little bit of water on it most of the time. So you walk out the water up to maybe your knee depth, and keep walking until you feel the water temperature change. Now during the early morning, it's not as good as what it is in say 10 o'clock in the morning, because the water's that time to warm up from the sun. So in the early hours of the morning, everywhere's cold sort of thing. So, but you will feel the difference in the water temperature. And when that water temperature changes, you stop there, you walk back about 10 metres, and your car's back to where the water changed. And when that water starts to get like cooler, then you keep stepping back, because the whiting will feed in a wave. Even though the current's going this way in, they'll feed in a wave like this. They'll keep feeding and working their way in shallower and shallower and shallower. Does that make sense? So it's the same as they down at Charis on that waterfront down there. Or I like fishing Runaway Bay. Runaway Bay is a great place to fish for whiting as your land base. So where the canals come out, the shopping centre canal at Runaway Bay, and then down to Shearwater, that front there's a lot of big whiting there at night time. But you're not seeing it in the water, you're actually on the shoreline. And because once it gets dark, there's less that scenario happening. They just come in and feed. They're not shy. They're under the cover of darkness. So, but during the day, you need to work it that way. But getting back to night time, like we said earlier, if you're going to go for an afternoon fish somewhere, sure, it's a whiteboard on. So there's another bank here, sort of like that shape, maybe. And there's a red beacon right about here somewhere, and that's a creek in there.
That's the way is that the rowing club?
The rowing club's over here. That's the Bundle Bridge here.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Ferry Road.
Yeah.
And rowing club's here, and that's Chevron Island Bridge.
Yeah.
There, sort of. But at night time, it definitely, this is quite a big area, so that's probably like about 300 metres in size. So you can fit like 20, 30 boats on it. So, and when we used to fish club years ago, these days people don't fish like they did back then. And we would have 40 boats on that bank. Like you'd only throw it in the back of your mate's boat. So, I'll try and, now when the tide's coming in, there's a lot of little jetties here, right? On the back of people's houses, there's jetties. And you've got about, between the jetties and that red's about probably 30 metres across, 40 metres. That bank actually, sorry. I'm showing this because this is the best spot. It's around a bit more of that. So you want to position yourself somewhere on the running tide on this area here. Because they're going to come down this channel here, is quite deep, and go on this bank and feed on this bank here. And they're all over that edge, and they're on this edge here as well, on this edge here. They'll drop from about 6 foot down to about 20 or 18 feet on that edge. And they feed on that edge. Has anyone fished that spot?
Yeah, went there, but the current.
Yeah, the current, so big sinker, they don't care.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5 balls
No,
sinker.
it would have been
But, yeah, that are mine. But I'd never fish it on full moon or moon like that at the moment. It's too big, too much run. So it's got to be like a quarter moon, last quarter, first half of the moon. And it's like in the old days it's like 6'10" tide, now it's like about 1 metre 3 or something like that, which is like about 4 foot tide, but somehow the tide's dropped over these. But
So you could just spot lock somewhere off there
you could if you wanted to spot lock it, you could do that too, can't you?
and just
Yeah. But I've never had much luck drifting there. Not during the night, yeah. So you position yourself here, somewhere along here, fish this edge. Depends on how many boats are there. from there to there's about 400 metres or 300 metres, plenty of room. Then when the tide starts to go out, I like to sit straight near this red here, about there, and the tide comes through this way, and I'll cast towards the red, and I'll cast over that bank, and my line will come around and come up the edge of that bank, and you nail them all the time from there to here. Does that make sense?
It's on a run out tide.
Run out tide, yeah. Run out tide. And look, I catch at Bud's Beach at night time while I'm here in the boat. That's really good. The two beacons there. This big sandbank on here never really produced very well for some reason. Don't know why. Doesn't work very well.
A lot of traffic too during the day.
Yeah, a lot of traffic during the day because they've got the jet skis in there.
And our boats.
Yeah, the jet boats.
Jet boats.
Yeah, they're all fanatical there. Now there's a new bank that's formed in the last few years here, okay? And I have put a few whiting there, it's not too bad. On the inside, I've tied against the shoreline here.
Bit
At
rocky.
night
Huh?
time, it's not too bad there.
Is that a bit rocky?
And that's sand there.
Oh, sand.
Yeah, rock starts about here
Yeah.
somewhere. There's a footbridge across here somewhere. So you sort of before that.
What's it today?
Where?
Yeah, but I was trying to kept trying to catch Jackson Bream and
Oh, okay.
not whiting.
You've been off down the other side of the bridge here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were I was up in the canals up around the casino.
Alright.
Up there.
Oh, right, okay. So good whiting fishing even that far up as well. But the next area up, which is up this way, this one goes up to Olacapri Bridge. Okay, so that whole straight's really good whiting fishing.
Mm.
And then when you go past Olacapri Bridge and you go around the next bend, then you go straight down to Bundle Bridge. That's really good whiting fishing down there too.
And you got that S bend? Is that big bend in the river, Narang? I don't know which way it goes. That way.
The one past Bundle Bridge?
I think so.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And it's
So
right on that
there's a
course.
big sandbar in the corner.
Yeah.
And there's good whiting fishing in the day there.
Yeah.
And then you got, once you get past there, past Hickey's house, you got that straight, we've got Sorrento Straight. And that's the end of Campbell Street. So many years ago, when we didn't have a little boat, or we didn't have time to use the boat, we used to fish on the end of Campbell Street. And with Dad and obviously his blood wounds, but it's a little rocky shoreline there. There's she oaks or big oak trees there, and pine trees, and it's still to this day a really good land-based whiting spot. So it's the end of Campbell Street. You can remember that banana. And we fished there on that. It doesn't matter running tide, run out tide. It's going to be early morning, late afternoon, and you cast out. It's pretty deep, pretty quick there, but they're all on there. Go to the area to fish probably that's there's like a block of units at the left side of Campbell Street on the shoreline there, and you can actually, it's a big park, so you can fish probably about a 100 metre stretch, and you still go there and catch like 10 or 15, but they're 38 centimetre ones, they're big ones. The other good spot is just here if you're land based. Still got to watch out for the druggos, but the street opposite where the bowls club's on the corner.
Whelan Street.
Whelan Street is, yeah, thank you. They go down the end of Whelan Street. End of Whelan Street, and there's a park just here again with big oak trees on it. And you're looking across. There's another little island over a bit of a bay here. Where that park is just here, it's just sort of halfway between the council chambers and Capri Bridge, I guess to say.
Yeah.
And that's a really good land-based spot as well. It's also a great spot in the boat casting back towards the land for some reason. Yeah, both areas work pretty well. But that would be, like when I go fish at night time, I'll fish there. If they're not on the bite there, it doesn't mean that means they're not going to be the bite on the river anywhere. You've got to come out to the broadwater. So generally it's the case when we get a lot of rain, and they'll be flushed out, and they'll be on the banks. So where the marine mirage is, so then you've got the trawlers. So the first sandbank's opposite the trawlers where the 6 knot zone is. That sandbank there on that edge is a really good whiting spot, all the way down to where the 6 knot zone becomes 40 knots. Up that stretch there on that edge is a really good spot for whiting, particularly night time. So if they're not at the river, that's where they're going to hang out. And you always catch them there, you'll catch 30, 40 whiting. No problems at all at night. north side of the Wadebreak Island, you get around crab during the day if you get a boat, that is. Around Crab Island's really good. And fish out really close to the mangroves again on the rising tides. The same scenario, they work their way up, but out of the boat at this time. It's a bit hard to wade that one. But anywhere north of there, the whiting's not as good to get into the Pimpama. So Coombs River is good too, around Central Cove actually, north Coombs.
So you're looking for more
Coombs Shores.
sandy areas than.
Yeah, they don't mind mud as well, but sandy areas is good. But they don't like that ripple sand effect where it's hard sand. Does that make sense? They don't like that sort of thing. You get lots of toadfish.
When you said around the back of Wadebreak,
Yeah.
so the seaway then goes straight into Wadebreak
Yeah.
there. So you're talking on the other side,
Yeah, I'll show you real
right
quick.
around the back of it.
Yeah. So if you go to kayak, you can get over there. Look, when we were kids, we used to paddle away the tubes over there. Or whatever. Boogie boards with their fishing rods. Body boards, what we call them these days. But,
So that's where you have it.
I think it's something like that.
It's very shallow around that side, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So the grand boat ramps here, sort of thing,
Yeah,
and Charos is in here, sort of thing. That makes sense.
yeah.
So this big bank here is sort of a little bit of a channel in there, but the bank's sort of right into there with little openings in here. A little bit of a channel there. And this is, oh sorry, there's this hole here as well. And then this is all sand pretty well, but it's very shallow in this area here. Now one of my favourite spots to wade, this is actually a bit bigger here, sorry. It's not that straight. Is I park the boat up on here, from this side, turns the wind's blowing southerly, I'll park it here. But northerly, I'll try and get in, but you gotta be careful, you don't get stuck in here. But run in tide, park the boat somewhere in here. And the tide's first coming in, I'll start fishing in this area here, along here. And then I'll move to here, and then I'll move to here. And from here to here is about 150 metres. It'll be probably 4 or 5 feet deep out here, and this will be exposed sand. But within about 2 hours, this will be 6 foot deep, and this will now be 2 foot deep. Does that make sense? And you're fishing that running tide. The other spot I like to do, but I don't wade it, I'm more fisher. There's all those boats, party boats sitting here, right? And there's a bank, a prominent sandbar here. This actually comes up a bit like this sort of thing. And there's a little bit of a deeper area in here. But this whole area here is a really good spot to fish with the boat at anchor. The tide comes ripping around into here, like this. And this tide here, the tide goes that way sort of thing. And they meet in this area here. But if you put the anchor out in this deeper side here and just drop your boat back only 5 or 10 metres, and you fish this little drop off here, it's about 2 foot deep. That's about probably 50 metres of area from there to there. And you just keep working away along this edge here. And the whiting sit here and feed in here. Then once the tide gets deep enough, they then drop into here. And you work this area over here. Has anyone fished there at all before? How'd you go, right? Yeah, it's a good spot. And the people that are land based, people that kayaks, you can paddle across there, okay, easy. If you are land based, you fish on the shoreline over here. So I said that's Charos here, sort of thing. But anywhere along this foreshore here, all the way down to where it gets real narrow down here, is really good whiting fishing. But predominantly go down to Ryan Bay, it's better.
Jumping bench.
Any questions on that at all?
Nope.
guys all cleared up?
What were the ripples you were talking about?
Oh, the ripples, yeah, sorry. The Rang River's gone now. But let's just imagine, there's a couple here actually. I think there's a 6 knot zone sign here. I think that's a red and that's a green. There's a green buoy about here somewhere. And you'll get like, you'll see like ripples in the water. And it's just because the banks change from say 1.3 metres and then drop down to like 2 metres. And that 700 mil gap, they'll just come hooking down where they swim with the current. And as soon as they see that, they'll spin back around, sit into the current and feed. And whatever comes off the sand or whatever it is, those ripples stir a lot up and you get a lot of bream unfortunately, but it really makes the whiting love it. So you look for the same things at the Rang River as well. Whenever you see a ripple, same with flatties, if you're flatty fishing, fish the ripple. So I'll position my boat at anchor about here and I'll cast back into that ripple like that sort of thing. Yeah.
And up.
No, I'm casting down. I'll cast to the side. So if my boat's sitting, say here like this, in the current going this way, my first line will go out probably about that angle. And this is full whiting, and I'll put 2 out the back like that.
So one out.
Yeah. Yeah. Or whatever. If I'm on that side of the boat, my mate's on that side of the boat. I like to fish the shoreline side of the boat. Except in the Rang River, I like to fish that edge. So I fish on the other side of the boat. But yeah, but if I was bream fishing, complete opposite, both lines will go up in that direction with very small sinkers on them. And when they get to about this position, where they've hit the bottom, I'll expect my line to take off. Yeah, it's particularly nice.
So when you've got your rod nearly horizontal, or maybe, I don't know, 35 degrees or
Yes,
something,
correct.
is that gonna, you're gonna lose your rod in the water when the fish
Possibly.
takes?
There's a flaw to my design. No, look, Sandy, no, you set the drag right. So I set my drag, this is true, I was talking about, I do use bait runners, I got a few bait runners. If I don't bring my bait runners, I'll set 2 drags fairly light and 2 fairly stiff. The ones that I don't watch very often, they're my stiff ones. And I'll either hook up and catch themselves, or I miss it. The other ones that take off, I just do my whole spill, we do it up a little bit, and I'm on. Yeah. So, and I'm working those 2 more. The other ones don't be small sinkers, they're outside, they're flipping around all the time. The other 2 are just plonk.
Yeah.
And the drag's not tight, but they can still pull the line up, but it's not going to pull the boat overboard. Yeah, I pull the rod overboard. Yeah, not the boat, the rod.
The jumping pin, 2 lagoons.
Yeah, 2 lagoons. So look, a jumping pin, if you're going to fish,
I do Kalinga Bank.
Kalinga Bank, yeah. So jumping pin Kalinga Bank's really good. Yeah, so I don't know if you want me to tell them, but
You told us last time, that's why I fished it.
And you got a few fish there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
30 ago.
Yeah, big ones too, right? Yeah, so Kalinga Bank's a great spot for whiting, not only flatties, but for whiting as well. And then someone flatted fishing, I always watch the older guys just smash them with whiting. There should be whiting fishing in it. Yabbies or worms, mate?
Blood, yeah, and beach.
Yeah,
But cured.
Good.
Yeah, go off.
Yeah. So you're just fishing probably only about 15 metres off the shoreline, I guess.
20 metres up, a little bit up from Jack Creek.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of just get shallow getting that now though.
Yeah, it is up near Jack Creek.
Yeah.
A lot more shallow.
So from halfway along Kalinga Bank, which is Duck Creek, and then you got the middle.
Yeah, Duck Creek.
Yeah. Halfway between the 2 Duck Creeks, one goes right around the back. There's all those flats, and it's just the best whiting fishing, and it's still the same big ones too. So if I had a spot and the ticket was blowing north there, I'd fish there 100%. And he's about a 4 ball, and the current's a good current. Yeah. So the other spot is the lagoon. So I was fishing a flathead, it was a Drift Flathead Classic actually. On the, not the original lagoon then of South Straddie, but the new lagoon on the right near the tip. There was a family there, just pulled the boat up on the shore, and it was rising tide, and I was fishing from the boat, and I was sort of stuck on the bottom. And I ripped them in. I mean, like big whiting too. Again, I was fishing with flatheads, and they were smashing it there. Yeah. So
Where's that up?
that's the second lagoon. the newest lagoon on the northern end of South Australia. Yeah.
I've never been there.
Slipping Sands is a good area too, so Slipping Sands and that little back channel that goes all the way up to the point opposite Russell, all on that edge there is really good too. Yeah. Another area that's good in the is the Jacobs Well Channel. There's a houseboat always over on that bank as you go down
Doesn't
Jacobs
move.
Well Channel. Doesn't move, that's
No.
right. And that bank there is pretty good for whiting as well, and big whiting as well. It's that muddy, sandy type stuff that they like.
Do you know anything about Currumbin or Tally?
Yeah, so I fished all those areas. So Currumbin Creek, the back area is my favourite area. So up near, so Currumbin Creek's got,
I've never been in it, but
okay, yeah, it's a high school there. Eleanor State High, it's called. So there's a little island there. And if you're driving over the Western Highway Bridge, and you come across Talbudger Creek, I think it is, you see that little island, there's a big sand flat there. It's the same scenario. So once that tide rises, it starts to flow through it. You work with the water temperature, and it's good yabbies there as well. Yeah. Currumbin Creek, you got to go sort of from the RSL Club west. This side looks really nice. That big bay at Currumbin Creek looks really good at the front. No whiting, no. It's a bit like Bums Bay. It needs tidal flow.
Yeah.
And surf fishing, look, I get my best whiting probably about 30 or 40 to 50 metres on the southern side of the Pumpkin Jetty. I love whiting fishing there, if you're into surf fishing. And I like the first to run in tide, first out of the run up. So it's low tide, I'm casting out the edge of the shoreline break. Using that little 8'6" rod I had before, this real whippy thing, this one. I'll take the kids down there, we'll just all be pulling in whiting 25 to 32 centimetres, nice little size. And then once the water rises a bit, for some reason they go on the other side of the jetty. So you walk under the jetty up to about an hour and a half, and you fish you cast back to the edge of the pipes or the pole, sorry, and it comes like a back eddy out of there, and on that side. It takes a bit of, the tides will come up for about 2 to 3 hours before it actually do that. It's sort of like back eddies back out through it. So has anyone tried that yet? Yeah, do you get the fish there? Yeah. It's really good. So that would be my suggestion if you're beach fishing. He's got to get there and do it. Okay. And the last thing I want to talk to you about, any questions on the bait? Everyone's good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now it's the same scenario, it doesn't matter if you're up at Tiwa or whatever, just look for those drains on the beach where you've got the called the worm banks, the big flat areas, right? And then they'll come in a little bit, there'll be like a bit of a cove, and there's little steep edges. No, they're only as wide as this, or a bit longer maybe, and then they'll go back into another cove. So you stand on the current on beaches always runs north for some reason, most time. So you stand on the most northern end and you cast back up to that sand worming edge that drops into that little cove, cast up on that, and then just slowly wind your bait back through that cove. Because they're sitting there feeding, as it drops out of that cove, they're sitting there feeding into that current, into that edge that's alive with current and water rolling off it. So that's the sort of things you look for. And I hate it, so I'm driving on the beach at Tiwa, so I like stop, I'm like, what are you doing? So go try. I'm walking or a dart. And then I goes like 50, 100 metres and then the full over again, he's like, it just looks so good. You learn to read the water and it's fish every time. Yeah. Okay. Lures. Has anyone ever caught a whiting on a pop-up or a stick bait? And they are the most aggressive fish. They're worse than a pack of dogs. Seriously, you think whiting's little timid little vacuum up the bait. No way. They're like wild animals. So when you're fishing the shallows, the beauty is you're using a surface lure and you're actually watching the whiting coming up to it. And not one, they've got 10 of his mates and they're fighting over this stick bait popper thing going across the top. You guys said that scenario? It's amazing. And this is, I'll pass some random example of what we use. The couple of secrets about fishing for whitings, but as big as poppers use is this size here, and little stick baits or this type of thing really good. So the difference is with the popper, when you when you're working it, it's like pop, 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 pop on the surface, a little bit of a pause in between maybe if you want to. But it only goes one way, but it throws a bit of water and makes a bit of excitement. With a stick bait, which is just a long type thing with no cup on the front, it's just a pointy front, even though you just work your rod the one way, it actually goes like that in the water. Okay, this is the way it works. And the whiting get really annoyed because, and all fish do when you use stick baits, but when you work it and it's working one way, not do your rod like this, it's doing that at that end, but you've got to do the rod one way. And they go to grab it, I think it's going to keep going that way, but also it darts that way and they miss it. And then you see them all go over there and it goes back the other way and they get really annoyed and they just crash it. So stick baits are my favourite to use for whiting, but you can use what you want to use. And a lot of the little stick baits you buy these days have little assist hooks. So little hooks that are on like forward and they get hooked on their lips. That's how when they bite it. So because they're like that, they're trying to bite the treble with the mouse like that, it's a little bit hard to hook them up sometimes. And you get a lot of hits and you get a lot of you see them actually trying to eat it, but they can't eat it. But when you put assist hooks on, they never miss. Have you tried the assist hooks yet? Yeah, they're really good. I'll pass these around. Unfortunately, most of the little stick bait lures are Japanese made, so they're quite expensive. I'm sure they're like 25 bucks a pop.
You got
They're really, really good. So a couple of secrets when you're using, I just don't want to. When you're using these sort of lures is, I find if I cast down with the current and I bring it back against the current, I don't get much. It's very hard to hook up, and the lure works too hard. And if I cast up current and bring it back down, I don't get as many hook ups, and again, it doesn't seem to do the right thing. You have to cast slightly up current and work across the current. Really important. So if you're going to be lure fishing for whiting, cast slightly up current against across it, and just work it back across the current towards you. Come down towards the current, and you just don't miss. And wear polarised and watch behind it. You'll be amazed. And not talking little, talking big ones too.
Don't stop.
Sorry, no? Don't stop. Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. Don't stop. The more you go, the more mad they get. and like the bigger start, you see one, you might cast like 30 metres or 40 metres, and you'll get a hit and try and see what's following, and then you see a whiting flash or whatever, and then you'll get another hit, and if you haven't hooked up, you haven't got the assist hooks on, you get a lot of hits, and then you'll look again, there's like 10 of them, you know, just trying to eat it. Yeah.
A big flathead will grab them too.
Yeah, big flathead, that's exactly right, Joe. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They go hard too. And you get everything. Stingrays too, of course. Yeah. And rod-wise, again, just your little flathead rod, it's fine. If there's one thing I can say about when you're using whiting lures, you don't want too light. You want actually a little bit of stiffness to control the lure as you're working it. So I'll just be like twitch, and if you've got too light, the tip's bending over when you're doing twitching, it'll be like the lure will pull the line but won't do much at that end. But if you've got a little bit stiff tip and you're pulling it, it's making it really work. Okay. But that goes
Use a shorter leader.
Tracks better.
Yeah, and use a bit heavy as well. Yeah. So exactly right. So don't use like an 8-pound leader because it doesn't. It'll control the leader, not you control it. So use a bit heavier, about 16 pounds or 15 pounds on the whiting. Not that they're big, but just works better. 50 centimeters plenty. Yeah. Okay. Everyone all ready to roll? Okay, good. I hope you guys are. It's good to hear, like you said, mate, you've tried to spot. You came to the whiting centre last year? Yeah, and did really well after that. Yeah.
There's no boats up and everything. Where is everyone?
I know, they don't know about it. That's why you guys know that.
They know.
They know about it.
No, but I thought everyone would have come from last time.
Yeah. No, that's right. So the up jumping way definitely clean banks. It's like the current's right, everything's right.
Yeah,
there.
everything's perfect.
Everything's perfect.
Except for the midges.
Yeah. Oh, Stu, mate, you rocked up, buddy. Cool.
Whatever. You've probably been talking about recipes or something, I reckon.
Yeah, actually, I haven't talked about whiting. Whiting's very nice for shinging too.
The cracked pepper.
Cracked pepper, yeah, nice.
Flour.
Yeah, I like this flour or big bag is good
The
too.
skin off.
Skin off, yeah.
Early form rule.
No, so look, years ago when I tried to, when we used to go, I tried to get a lot of whiting back in the day. I used to mulch up old yabbies, old soldier crowds in the sand with a tuna all with it, mix it all up. And I would have the biggest got float fella, this mass of toadfish, catfish eels, bream, everything you can think of, mate. So don't do it.
No.
The best thing to bring them to your boat is a fly or an edge, Yeah. That's the early because it's natural, running off the edge of the sand and drop it into it and they're feeding off whatever it's
I
got.
said the other night, that rip,
Yeah.
well, that must be where the bloody rocks are.
No, that's where the sand,
Yeah,
that's where the sand
yeah,
comes from.
yeah.
You fish the ripples,
I
yeah.
put the motor down, the electric, and it was just whirring, so I ended up having to throw it in.
Yeah, because it's so strong.
Wow.
So you would have been, because it's new moon.
It was,
so,
yeah, it was big.
Yeah, so you would have had to go probably a week ago. So not this weekend, but next week, it's really good times again. And this next 2 months is the best time for whiting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this weekend's not much.
Look, I still go, but I'll go fishing whenever I can. But yeah. Yeah, we used to. Okay. Anyhow, any questions? Look, everyone's cleared up. It's pretty late, so we'll get on to it. Time goes quick. I just love whiting fishing. I love eating them. It is a great fun sport. They're beautiful little fish, and they catch them day and night.
What's that size limit and,
Yeah, 25. Oh, I made mine 25. It's 23.
Yeah,
25.
25.
I don't keep mine 25.
and how many?
20?
30 per person.
30 per
Yeah.
person.
50
Yeah.
winters, yeah.
And 50 with a white, okay. Okay, cool. Is there anything else I want to show you? Oh, I got this rig here because it's a new rig which I haven't tried, which is what we were talking about before, the fall off the thing, mate. This one I don't think will fall off, there's a little snap on the end. It's a Japanese one. And they're like single traces. That probably will. Rightio. I think there's nothing else I want to show you. Oh, there is one thing. Whiting have a bad habit of swallowing right down their backside. And they're pain in the ass to get out. And you've got only, they come through waves, so I can tell you, so when you're whiting fishing, they'll come through like a swarm. So all your rods will go at one time.
Yep.
And you'll get 4 or whatever. And then you quickly bait up. And because they swallow the hook right down, you sit there for 10 minutes trying to get the hook out. And in the meantime, you could have got another 4 or 5 fish if you had just chopped it off. Or did what I'm going to show you. And then you get 3 lines back out, you got the hook out, you 3 lines back out, I'm ready to roll again. And you gotta wait another 20 minutes for the next swarm to come past. They come through on schools. That's how they work. They go down the river, they go back up the river. All the same deal. So what you do is when you catch a whiting, you flip him upside down. The line's hanging out of his mouth, right? And you look down and the hook's way down this way. So you turn him upside down, you get your thumbnail, and where the back of his foot joins on, that soft membrane between his lips and there, you put your thumb down there and you just dig it in, just go straight in, and slip it up and split his bottom mouth open. Should probably turn that off then. The camera's running. Sorry, guys. And then split it open, and then you just grab your line, and it just comes all the way back to the back. And there's a hook right there, you just pop it out like that. Has anyone done that yet?
And then they're too small and you throw them back.
No, you don't do that. They're too small, good question. If they're undersized, like close to size, I just cut it.
Cut the line off.
I don't even try and pull them, actually. It's up to them, just lodge it. Yeah, so just do that, upside down, flip, pull back, pop it out. As I was saying, some of them should buy, they're very light gauge, so you do that a couple of times when they, especially 6s, and they'll bend too much, and when they bend too much, they're no good. This is what I'm going to tell you. Yeah, okay, cool. Draw time. Oh, when you worm, that's all it is, just a crab pot, bag, like just a bait bag and a crab pot. And that's enough in there that once start bent around in there. And just have a little bit of that on, with that on there. So if you've got a big wave coming in and you're trying to get a worm, you just chuck it behind you and concentrate on the worm, okay? Just make sure the spines don't stab you in the feet. So, when the wave goes past you. Okay. Draw. Stewie's done, I think. Disappeared again.
Nice. Well, let's look at
He took it out.
Oh, did he?
He took the basket with him, I think, when he went out the door.
The tap dance for a
Yeah,
bit.
there he is.
Here he comes. Hey, Stu. So about $1,500 worth of stuff here tonight. It's all bits and pieces. Measure your fish. Remember, whiting do shrink. And the other thing too, folks, is that this time of the year it's hot, so you have to put them on ice, salt water, a slurry or whatever, and keep them really nice and keep them well.
So you get them in the middle of the day, it doesn't have to be.
No,
Well,
you
we-
do day is fine. No, that's fine, mate. If that touch, particularly if the tides are starting to come in a bit,
Yeah.
they really like it, yeah. But, obviously night time's better for the big ones. So, number midfield, 18.
It's me.
Well done, Sandy. There you go. Oh, there's one thing I was still out of your bag for a sec, Sandy. Building knives, make sure it's thin. Okay? You gotta learn to cut over that rib cage.
Oh, it's good, I've just bought Whetstone.
And there's a vote of confidence, love. Thank you, Sandy. Cheers, love. Well done.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Good on you.
Okay, next one.
We've also got another field knife. There's a couple of lures there too, get that wrap as well. So you do that one?
Yeah.